can, but I think he'll snap out of it. But I think if they're gonna get some things going, and they better do it fast, they need to start getting some scoring, and particularly Stamkos and Kucherov for sure. But also you're talking about guys like Killorn, Braden Point, Andre Palat, Tyler Johnson, who are just way below what you would expect from them offensively.
Yeah, the Lightning are playing in St. Louis tonight against the Blues, so you talk about two teams that seem to be a little bit of a distance away, from each other, not only points-wise, but even though they're in separate conferences, but organizationally as well. Again, we both alluded to the fact that you had that Steve Yzerman effect going to Detroit, and the Blues are finally starting to gel in the West.
Yeah, well, the Blues are a big, heavy team. They're a hard team to play against. They're gonna use their size, and they're gonna make it a hard game. Tampa's not built that way. Tampa's
Right.
a skilled team, and that's fine if you're scoring goals. But right now they're just not scoring enough. And right now if they don't catch fire soon, we're a quarter of the way through the season.
Right.
You've got some teams that are going to run away from them, and one of them is going to be the Boston Bruins.
Yeah, and part of the thing that you have, too, is unlike the day where 16 out of 21, 22 teams got in, you got over 30 teams, so you have to leapfrog a lot more teams.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's you got to grab one of those. You got to grab one of those first three spots in your division, and if you don't, then you're fighting with 10 other teams for two spots, and that's a tough road.
I remember back in the day, and I know the NHL's changed their playoff format a lot, where you had 1-8, 2-7, 3-6, 4-5. I don't like the divisional playoffs. I really have a problem with that.
You do or you don't like the divisional playoffs?
I don't. No, I like the 1-8, 2-7, 3-6, 4-5. Because again, you see each team too many times in the same division, right?
Yeah, well, obviously they do that for travel reasons.
Right.
But they also, were really trying to create rivalries for some of the newer teams, or at least the teams that are new to the league in the last 20 to 25 years. I mean,
right.
Under that old system, you just didn't get a lot of Kings-Ducks playoff matchups, and that's really what created some of these great rivalries as well.
Right.
I mean, when you had an Adams division where Boston and Buffalo and Montreal and even Quebec back in the day were playing each other every year, Hartford, and you had a Patrick division with the Rangers and the Devils and the Capitals and the Flyers and the Islanders. I mean, those rivalries were created through two rounds of the playoffs every year, and it was a war of attrition. But those new teams came along, the playoff format had changed, and there just wasn't as much interest as Florida Panthers and New Jersey Devils first round playoff matchup.
Oh, yeah, that's really true. Again, I realize unlike baseball, we play each other 18, 19 times a year, regardless. Even in hockey, when you're playing with each other at the division 4 times a year, versus that, of course, you have lesser games too. To me, I remember. Go ahead. That's okay.
I was gonna say, wouldn't it be nice if Tampa and Florida could match up once in the playoffs here? That's never happened, and both teams have been around for a quarter of a century now, and it's never happened. And so hopefully with this new format, the chances of that happening are a lot greater. And once it does, I think you set them up for a great rivalry, and people are going to have some real interest in seeing them play each other in the regular season.
Well, part of the problem is the Panthers haven't been very good either. So, what have they made the playoffs?
That's
two or three times in their existence. If you want to get in the dance, you better be able to make sure you qualify to get in the dance.
That's right.
So.
That's right.
So let's go over a couple more scenarios. Got the Edmonton Oilers remain in first place, 29 points. Pacific Division. Ken Holland's the general manager.
Yeah, I mean, wow. I know he will do a good job there, but he's had an effect right away.
Hasn't he?
And kudos to him. I mean, it's no surprise. I mean, people look at the success he had in Detroit, but you got to remember that success was for a long time, and it was with different coaches. People forget that that there were coaches like Jacques Demers behind the bench when they were successful in Eisenman's early years. Of course, Scotty Bowman brought him to those cups. But then the success continued with Mike Babcock. So I mean, he was the one steady influence there through all those times. He was the guy that oversaw that organization when they drafted well, and then at the right times as they got a little older, signed the right free agents to win a couple more cups. So it looks like he's ready to do the same thing in Edmonton. I mean, they don't lack for talent, and picking up James Neal for Lukic looks like a steal right now for them.
Oh yeah.
Neal's never gonna set up a lot of goals, but he's not afraid to shoot the puck. He can skate, and he's on pace for 30 goals this year, and that's probably the deal that I would say was the best deal he made this year.
Right. But
you also add up the type of centers they have, and I'm a big believer that you've got to be strong in the middle of the ice. Every play in hockey starts with a face-off, and puck possession is so important. And when you can control the center of the ice, whether it's in the offensive zone, scoring opportunities, the defensive zone, stopping scoring opportunities, the center position is just so important, and they've got three of the best when you're looking at guys like Draisaitl, and you're looking at Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and of course Connor McDavid. There's not too many teams, if any, in the NHL that are as strong as they are down the middle.
And finally, let's talk about the Red Wings. They had 4 points on the recent West Coast trip. They didn't do too bad in California. Got 2 points, I believe, against Anaheim, and a point apiece against San Jose and the Kings, and they went in overtime in each of those contests. And even though they're tied for 7th place, they were taking out Ottawa. Both teams are tied, with at 17 points. They made a good trade with the Blues, I think, for Barry or whatever his name is. I have a feeling that Steve Yzerman will not be afraid to go ahead and make those interesting trades where he's got everything to gain, nothing to lose, with guys that are trying to get a fresh start.
Yeah, no, he's going to do that. The most important thing, though, that he's going to do is he's going to use the draft to build a team.
Right.
I mean, and probably, I say the most important thing, but actually what's probably the most important thing that he will do, and I've experienced this myself with different organizations, is he'll show the patience once he drafts these kids
right.
to develop them the right way.
Right.
And we talked about Florida earlier,
right.
And you can go through the history of the Florida Panthers. That's one thing that they've never done. They continue to draft kids in the first round and think they're going to be NHL impact players at age 18 or 19 years old. Unless you're talking about a generation of superstars, that's just not going to happen. It takes time, and you see a lot of these guys that general managers, especially, that are not patient with players, and they try to put them in the NHL at 18 or 19. They get frustrated with them by the time they're 21 or 22. They trade them away, and then all of a sudden the player becomes something
right.
Before. And I think that Steve Yzerman has the patience to bring his young players along. He understands that it's a process. He's got a few veterans in there to help with that process. Guys like Phil Pula, for instance, I think are good for that process. Darren Helms, another guy.
Mm-hmm.
Even Danny DeKaiser, who to me is a veteran player now, who are going to be Trevor Daley, who they signed.
Right.
Who's won a few Stanley Cups. Jonathan Erickson. These are guys that are going to be there, help develop some of the younger players, and most importantly, he's going to use their AHL team in Grand Rapids to get these young kids experience and playing time. So when they're ready to go, they'll be up and they'll contribute. They just won't be finding their way. So I have complete faith in it that he's going to do it again.
Yeah, well, it's not ironic that the Lightning, though, and I know we touched on this before, have gone south. They're not as a team that is starting to age a little bit, but then all of a sudden Yzerman goes to Detroit, and it'd be different if we're 2 or 3 years, down the road and this was happening, but this is immediate. Is Steve's influence in that Tampa organization that great?
Again, I don't know if it's all Steve Yzerman. Julian Brisebois is definitely a qualified general manager. He'll do a good job, but when you lose some of the other guys that left with Yzerman, and the one I keep pointing to is Pat Verbeek.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the unsung heroes of your hockey operations staff. And those are the guys that really go out there and beat the bushes and find the players, that really direct and run your scouting staffs and are able to collect information because they're out there watching players. And so when you see the Red Wings make a trade like they did to get Robbie Fabry, there's a reason. There's a reason why they want him, and usually Pat Verbeek's the guy that can give you that reason.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of things people have to understand when you talk about the importance of a general manager, let alone his assistant. When Ken Holland was doing what he had to do, Jim Mill was the young sung guy behind the scenes who went out there and made a lot of key decisions too. And if anybody knows how important it is for one to go out there and have that good right-hand man, these are the types of things that get overlooked.
Well, that's absolutely right. You're right. I mean, Jim Mill did a great job there for a number of years. Steve Yzerman, before he went to Tampa,
right,
paid his dues in the organization as well. But he understands how to build an organization because he was part of it as a player and saw, when he came in, the Red Wings were coming off years of, I'll call it mediocrity. Maybe it wasn't quite mediocrity, and he saw the organization build around him, and then he saw the team stay successful for the duration of his career, and then even afterwards when he was working in the organization. So he understands that. There are not a lot of teams in the NHL that have general managers in particular that understand that. They really don't. Sometimes that's because owners don't show patience in them. Other times it's because owners put too much faith in them and don't demand that they work and do the right things you need to do to build the organization.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like we've talked about, Mike, where you tend to go out there and overlook some of the other guys behind the scenes, and that's what I've always pretty much thought. And, I'm sure you've dealt with this over the years too.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. When I worked in Florida, twice when I worked in Florida, we had an affiliate in San Antonio, Texas, that was owned by the San Antonio Spurs, and I spent a lot of quality time with people in the Spurs organization. From Rick Pitch, their president, to Greg Popovich, the coach, and one of the things that stuck with me was, if you're in what now is NHL going to be a 32-team league,
right?
And 16 teams make the playoffs, then you should be able to make the playoffs 5 times out of 10 years. And if you're not able to do that, then it's time to make a change.
Oh yeah.
If you're not able to make the playoffs 50% of the time, then it's time to make a change to the top. But you see organizations that, and I blame this on ownership, that just either get fooled or get lackadaisical with the people they have building their organizations, and they don't demand that work ethic, and they don't demand a plan. I think that's why you see the same general managers that are successful time in and time again, and it's the same organizations that, except for the odd years when they're down or rebuilding, are always at the top, and others just never get there.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, Mike, we appreciate you coming back on, talk about this thing there, and I'll be curious to see how that Don Cherry thing takes off. I got to give the guy credit, though. You know what? He does find a new trend, and this podcasting thing has certainly caught on for sure. And it didn't take an 85-year-old man to know that I may not be on CBC, but at least he's making sure he's not quiet very long. So, but maybe,
maybe we can get him on the show here, Scott.
Yeah, I would like to do that. If you get a